race of beings that spoke an entirely and or understood entirely different body of information. Makes sense now, doesn't it? So it's not that anybody wanted to favor a communication. It was, how do we explain? So duality was here at some degree in the last ascension cycle. How do we explain to the next generation, leave artifacts, our footprint, so that we don't make the same mistake again? For me, that's what archaeology is. How do we make sure we tell the others? Pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yes. So let's talk about, since you brought up timelines, I mean, we could talk about that future. For many that are listening already understand that there are many, I mean, there's, there are millions, again, infinite amount of creation that's beyond our little blue earth, right? And a lot of that is really coming into the open, even as far as space, you want to call them spaceships, from other galaxies or from wherever, through light years, through portals, et cetera, et cetera. That's coming out in the news anyways, right? Or you look at the Gaia channel, there's a lot of information there that, a lot of people kind of go to, to just look at what might have happened in the past that was, very positive and uplifting, and, and in the near future of what is to come. But I guess maybe my question is, if you looked into, and we've asked you to do that and you already have, but when we're looking at archaeology and the different types of mammalian beings that are out there, I mean, so many people would be very, very amazed. Where did the unicorn come from? Or the horses that were half human and half horse, or the lion beings that walk on 2 feet. I mean, all of those, back when, that was like part of the mythology, or that was part of fantasy or whatever. And in reality, those are absolutely those are real. We just don't see them. Again, a lot of these beings, they don't want to relate. They don't want to come and say hello to us, because, we would, be in a gas and be shocked, and or we would be like, oh my God, what are they doing here? They are the enemies, etc. Right? So how are we going to, I guess, move from this timeline to the next timeline and say, hey, these are really beautiful beings that are just like us, right? How do we get to the us part so that we can actually do that? And I know that you're going to say, well, the more light you bring into you, and the more that you work with your heart mind, or with your heart and your decision making, then you'll be there whenever that time is, when you decide. Is that correct, Q?
Pretty sure it's the last show. The show really should only be that long right there. And every week we'd say the same thing. I actually do miss having a tail. It really had a lot of sensory, emotional awareness. So look how cats have whiskers. They can sense emotions and sense the jungle they live, the environment they live in, and so forth. Well, women are a lot like that too. Notice that a lot of women look like cats. Notice it's a little more difficult to lie to a woman, et cetera, et cetera. As we get older in this genetic lineage, it's actually supporting ascension. So it's more difficult to trick someone, sneak up on someone. All of those attributes intrinsically are starting to appear, and that's why the attention on us is so dramatic, is because we're getting savvier at going, this doesn't feel right. I don't think I'm going to do it. And the timelines, to your question, is getting very difficult to control the more we keep doing these shows, of course, and communicate about it. What if I didn't do anything I didn't want to do this week? And then we did it for 2 weeks. And then we did it for 3. What if we did it for a whole year? And watch how your life changes. And I didn't say that there wouldn't be people you interact with that are on negative timelines and you have visibility to, but you're on your own timeline in relationship to you and your decision-making process. So the circumstances that you play with day in and day out in the modern Western world really don't matter if you're only focused on creativity, not past. So here's an example. That person owes me money. I'm going to sue them and I'm going to get my money. Okay. That person owes you money based on a past experience, doesn't it? So here's how the universe will not support you anymore. It's impossible to not have a negative timeline in this situation. Watch this. Okay. Jimmy, he owes me money. He ran into my car, made a dent. Jimmy, when are you going to pay me? I don't have the money. I got babies at home to feed. Okay. Well, Jimmy, I'm going to sue you. And so I'm going to tell you to pay up or else. And you got 90 days to do it. You don't, I'm going to have you thrown in jail, take you to collections and so forth. Okay. Now, I want the money because Jimmy hit my car. So I reacted to the car getting a dent. Did I proactively want to deal with Jimmy and the dent? No. So what would be a heart-based opportunity there would be, Jimmy, did you know that you hit my car? Oh my gosh, I did not know that. So now I formed a question that could have been a statement, just as easy, but questions create more opportunity to deliver love. So I care before I say one word to Jimmy. I recognize Jimmy may not feel good about running into my car. And so I put the question, yeah, I want my car fixed. But now, Jimmy, hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. How do you want to take care of the dent in my car? I don't know what I'm going to do. I got a lot going on. Okay, well, we'll just get back to each other on it. There's no emotions. There's nothing more than Jimmy wants to help me. I want to be helped. End of story. Could it be any easier?
No, that's perfect.
So most of the statements that we project to each other are negative because they're in the form they're in. You're going to, this is what you did. This is where you were. This is where you are. This is how I feel. All of those things are statements. And because of our powers, we're very powerful. It affects the person you're talking to and everyone around them because you're recording these emotions. And once you put it in the etheric, it comes into the intrinsic. So believe it or not, when I yell, Jane, I love you, everyone feels that as it travels through the etheric field right to you because you know I love you, Jane.
Correct. Thank you.
But it works, and it works that supple. So that's all we have to do is relate more and more to learning about the situation instead of telling people what the situation is based on constants and or perceptions of the past. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Again, that makes perfect sense. So again, it's all about positive, it's a positive way of looking at things rather than, getting emotional about something, whatever that situation is. So again, it's your perspective and how you work with that perspective that can change it can change the lives of many and change that, that removal of the dark energies so that there is no more recreations of timelines and you just kind of bring neutrality to the situation.
That's right.
Right. So we just have to be more cognizant of how we are reacting. So for example, I could be driving, right? And or let's just say somebody else is driving and you hear them say something super negative, got angry right on the road.
Are you saying someone's gotten angry with you driving, Jane?
No. Well, maybe.
Maybe. All right.
Okay. Okay. Right. So, I could retaliate and, call him, her names or whatever. Did you see that? Did you see what that woman did? She just drove right in front. It's so easy in terms of how we have just been on road. I mean, it's been like memorized into our brains that this is how we react, and everybody reacts the same way. And now it's just time to stop it completely, even though we know the best way to react, right? But it's always like after the fact. Oh, I wish I didn't say that to Q. Oh, I wish, I wasn't so upset. I wish, I could do as many wishes as I want, but I already created the timeline. So what do I do then? After you've created the timeline already, and it's already gone out to many other people, right?
Yeah, what I'm doing my best here to represent what we're calling unconditional love, that I'm calling forgiveness, is how come I can't instantly forgive when I have these knee-jerk reactions?
Exactly.
When I'm driving. So where does that come from? You'll notice that comes from the brain. So when you reacted to the finger being given to you while you're going down the road, you did not proactively create that. Yes, it happened. Yes, you watched it. And by the way, the emotions that come from someone giving you sign language is just as powerful, if not more, when you say it, because the intentions coming from the magician giving you the middle finger actually gets delivered to you.
Right.
You actually can feel it now. So this is a great example of how we have evolved. So 500 years ago, you would not feel the pain of someone giving you the middle finger like you do today. Pretty interesting, isn't it? So that itself is competition for us to use our heart. Mm-hmm. Not only are we empathically, telepathically, hyperconscious, clairvoyant, clairaudient, etc., clairassisted, all of those beautiful woo-woo club line items that are all a collective of how source works. You've been duped. All the psychic community has been duped thinking that they're clairvoyant and or psychic. Even the word tricks you. It might be the worst word you could call someone, a psychic. Psych. It even a lot of the words in the English language, if they're said backwards, you'll see the trick. So everyone on the planet, hear me. You're all psychic. Ick. All right? Now use your heart to make decisions and then observe them through the huge telecommunication system you have called your head. So I hope that helps get us going. What else do you want to do? Because I want to talk about the timeline I created, so see what our researchers can observe as well.
Oh, well, why don't you go ahead and do that, please, Q?
Okay. So a few shows ago, I have this underlying theme. By the way, the last time I was here, it surprises me people aren't picking up that I'm always a little bit of a troublemaker. I just love breaking rules. I don't like rules at all. A lot of folks around me go, yeah, that's for sure. I don't like rules at all because they don't come from the heart, do they? So a few shows ago, you may remember I created a timeline for this conversation on this show. Okay. Do you remember what it was, Jane? And it was probably difficult to observe and recognize as a timeline, but we did a really good job. We picked a really good subject. I guess I did. Do you remember the timeline I created on, I believe it was the first show of the year?
The very first show?
Maybe it was the second. I'm awful with time, as you know.
Well, I do remember that you were talking about your past.
Yeah, we're talking about, we created a timeline so we could watch it materialize in a negative timeline and or attacking humanity. Okay, so I purposely kicked the bear so I could show you how timelines, so now this is a bigger, grander timeline for humanity, but the goal was for today to show you the microscopic timelines that are not yours, negative timelines, and we watched them grow throughout the show today, and we created a big one to prove to you you are in a war against not only artificial intelligence and or your heart, they don't want you to use your heart, and they are dark beings. Now, the dark beings can go into the intrinsic world. So as an example, George Bush Sr. had a dark being in physicality